What should have been a simple train ride becomes a fight for survival against hundreds of infected passengers. Sok-woo is a workaholic fund manager who's quietly convinced he's doing the best thing for his little girl by being busy. His daughter Suan is bright, stubborn, and smarter at 8 than he wants to admit, and the movie wastes no time showing you that their relationship is the whole emotional engine. He's late for everything. She's written a touching letter about a guardian angel, and when Suan begs to spend her birthday with her mom in Busan, Sok-woo grudgingly agrees to chaperone a train ride across the country. It's supposed to be a quick, awkward attempt at fatherhood, the kind of one-day trip that costs a few missed conference calls and maybe a little dignity. You can already tell this guy's going to learn something important, and yes, the film makes you hope he does. It starts small and personal. Suan practicing for a birthday message, Sok-woo checking his phone, him dropping her off and arguing with his ex about custody, all the little things that make him feel like a man doing the right thing by being distant. Then, almost like a bad joke, the world goes sideways. An agitated woman stumbles onto the train, and someone gets bitten. Within minutes there's screaming, confusion, and people behaving badly in ways that feel painfully familiar. You see fear strip away manners and social niceties, and the human ugliness is as important to the story as the zombies themselves. The infection is fast and ugly. Bitten people turn ferocious in moments, not days. The train becomes a metal coffin and a crucible at once. Survivors gather in a few cars and quickly form a strange, effective little family. Sok-woo is forced into leadership, but he's no hero at first. He's a man who negotiates with charm and money, not muscles. His arc is painfully realistic. He tries to buy safety, makes terrible decisions under pressure, and continually learns that his tactical instincts don't mean much when a horde is pounding on the door. Among the traveling survivors are Sang-hwa, a blue-collar guy who's all fists and heart, the kind of man who will hold a door shut until everything breaks, and his pregnant wife, who acts as the group's moral center when needed. There's a cool, tough teenage baseball team with their coach, a kind stewardess who tries to keep order, a guileless elderly man who refuses to be left behind, and a slimy businessman whose choices are selfish enough to shape half the tragedy that follows. They're a motley crew, and Train to Busan uses them to show how people either step up or step on others when the chips are down. The moral test of the film is simple. Will you help strangers, or will you survive at their expense? The train keeps moving, and so does the horror. Every stop is a new gamble. The survivors hope the military can handle the outbreak and that each station will bring safety. It doesn't. At several platforms, newly bitten people run aboard, desperate for refuge. The military is overwhelmed, the infected are everywhere, and what was closed off safety unravels into chaos. There are tense set pieces where doors slam shut inches away from a zombie's hand, and moments where hope is a thin thread pulled tighter and tighter until it snaps. Sok-woo's growth is gradual and messy. Early on he judges others and expects the world to fold to his decisions. He tries to manipulate situations with money and charm, and he makes calls that put people in danger. But the film gives him honest moments, quiet conversations with Suan, flashes of guilt when he sees the consequences of his choices, and it lets him earn his redemption. The father-daughter relationship is the emotional core. Suan's sweetness and bravery are a mirror that gradually makes Sok-woo realize what kind of man he wants to be. He begins as someone who sees his daughter as an accessory, and by the end he's risking everything for her. That transition isn't sudden or cheesy. It's earned through small, painful mistakes and a slow realization that people matter more than profit margins. Sang-hwa, meanwhile, is the muscle with a surprisingly soft center. He protects with the kind of confidence that only a guy who knows how to throw a punch can have, and his relationship with his pregnant wife is a quiet, grounding force. He and Sok-woo clash at first. Macho bravado versus suit and phone pragmatism, but they bond quick because that's what emergencies do. They accelerate friendships. They share jokes, each provides what they can, and in the end Sang-hwa's heroism becomes one of the film's most heartbreaking pillars. He's the kind of character you cheer for and then angrier with fate for what it asks him to do. The villain in human form is the selfish businessman who thinks he can buy his way out of anything. He betrays the group repeatedly, choosing his own survival over anyone else's and causing catastrophic consequences along the way. He's not some misunderstood antihero. He's the kind of person who leaves children to fend for themselves and slams train doors on people pleading for mercy. The movie uses him as a stand-in for the idea that selfishness is as deadly as the infection. His downfall is brutal but satisfying, because the film doesn't just want blood, it wants moral clarity. Train to Busan doesn't skimp on set pieces. There are scenes where survivors have to move through zombie-infested cars, hang from the outside of a train, and make split-second decisions that determine life or death. The suspense is relentless. Directors don't waste time padding with subplots. Every moment is used to either deepen character or ratchet up terror. One sequence has the survivors crawling across the roof of the train, the wind whipping, bodies tumbling, and the moans of the infected like a chorus behind them. It's primal fear, and yet the human moments. A hand reaching out, a child being soothed with a joke, a quick whispered plan. Keep it from being just gore for gore's sake. There are small, genuine bits of humor that the movie sneaks in, often from character interplay. Soo-eun is delightfully sharp. She memorizes song lyrics, makes deadpan comments, and holds her own in the face of horror in a way that's honestly uplifting. Her presence keeps Seok-woo human and the stakes personal. The baseball kids provide juvenile bravado and unexpected courage. Their coach tries to be dad to them in a way that makes you root for the team. Those lighter moments make the punches harder because you care. Emotionally, the film builds to a few major sacrifices. People who could have run turn back to help others. Men who were loud suddenly quiet and steady. Seok-woo's arc culminates in a choice. Stay with the group and keep trying to make it to Busan, or throw himself into the chaos to buy his daughter time. He chooses the harder path, and the scene where he gives everything is designed to land like a gut punch. Sang-hwa also faces his own crucible and makes the kind of sacrificial move that marks him as a true protector. These moments are sorrowful, yes, but they're meaningful because the film earned them through minutes of screen time that showed who these people were and what they stood for. Visually, the movie is sharp and kinetic. The claustrophobic interiors of the train are balanced by sudden, dizzying shots of empty platforms and swarming crowds, so you always feel both trapped and exposed. The sound design is particularly effective. The thump of approaching feet, the frantic calls for help, and the eerie silence that falls after an attack. The zombies aren't slow-moving shamblers. They're terrifying because they're rapid, aggressive, and disturbingly human in their ferocity. The film also smartly uses the train setting to its advantage. Being on tracks gives the plot a relentless forward momentum, literally, and the stops and starts create natural beats for tension and reveal. As the train nears Busan, the body count rises and the survivors thin out. By now, Seok-woo has changed from a selfish planner into a father who understands what love costs. The final sequences are tense and heartbreaking. They test every relationship the film has built. There's a climactic stand where choices have real consequences, and when the dust settles, you're left with a small group of survivors who have been forged by horror into something like a family. Soo-eun survives, and in the last quiet moments we get the heartbreaking aftermath. The girl who wanted to see her mother finally gets that wish, but not without paying a terrible price for the journey. The last scenes are not a Hollywood tidy wrap. The survivors reach a semblance of safety, and the film offers both sorrow and a small, stubborn sliver of hope. Soo-eun's survival and the memory of those who sacrificed themselves feel honest rather than manipulative. You walk away feeling wrung out, sad for the losses, grateful for the courage, and thinking about how people behave in crisis. The movie asks whether we are capable of more than looking out for ourselves, and it answers by showing people who choose community over self-preservation. If you haven't seen it, Train Movie Meets Apocalypse might sound gimmicky, but Train to Busan keeps the human element front and center, and that's what makes it sting. It's not just about zombies, it's about how a father learns to be a dad, how strangers can become family, and how ordinary acts of bravery matter when everything falls apart. There's humor in small lines and tenderness in quiet looks, and the action scenes are visceral enough that your heart will be pounding. It's grim, sure, but there's a warmth beneath all the chaos that makes the losses feel like real tragedy and the victories like earned relief. So yeah, bring tissues. Expect to be tense, to laugh nervously at moments of gallows humor, and to root for characters who are brave not because they're flawless but because they choose to act when it counts. It's a fast, emotional ride that uses the confined space of a train to explore what people are willing to do for the ones they love. And if you've ever had father-daughter drama, or been someone trying to be better, Seok-woo's arc will hit you right in the feels. Train to Busan is exactly the kind of apocalypse movie that makes you care about people before it knocks them down, and that's why it sticks with you long after the credits roll. Thanks for watching. For more horror and thriller movie recaps, hit subscribe and turn on notifications.